Hello everyone, welcome to a quick discussion video, another Google Hangouts with myself, Nbz, and Bally is here as well. Hi Bally.
Hello, Nbz.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for joining me this afternoon.
Yeah, yeah. My pleasure indeed. So we're here to talk to you very quickly about the Nintendo video that just went up on their YouTube page for their announcement for E3 and their plans, what they're going to be doing. Before we get into that, though, I want to kind of preface this with a bit of Twitter drama that happened before the video went live. So Bill Trinen, as many folks know, he's core part of Nintendo. He is Miyamoto's personal translator. He's been with the company for 20 plus years. Everyone loves him. He's such a cool dude, and he's often in many Nintendo Directs for the North American side. So on his Twitter bio, he tweeted, like, I guess nothing can last forever, and changed his Twitter bio to say, I no longer work for Nintendo of America. And people lost their fucking minds, myself included, because I was like, holy shit, this is insanity. He's kind of like the sort of dude that you would expect to be at a company for the rest of his life. You know, he's kind of like so entrenched in Nintendo that you can't imagine him doing anything else, right?
And even guys were like Jose Otero, you were saying, tweeted at him like, "Sad to see you go, Bill. It's been good, you know."
It's been a good run. So he fooled everyone. So the reason that he was doing that was because in the Nintendo video, there was a joke related to Bill being fired from Nintendo. Obviously, he basically messed up the timings. I believe he's in Japan right now. And because of that, he messed up on when 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time was for him and tweeted an hour earlier. So basically thinking that everyone had seen the video and knew what was going on. Instead, no one knew what the fuck was going on and lost their bloody minds. And then he was like, after about 5 minutes, he tweeted, realizing his mistake, and was like, "Oh no, by the way, I was trolling you all, lol, lol, lol." But that happened, and after that happened, everyone was like, "Oh, there has to be something going on revolving around Bill being fired from Nintendo or leaving Nintendo in the announcement video," and that's basically what happened. So it was a very short video. It was really funny. Again, Bally, in recent years, Nintendo not taking themselves very seriously, taking their executives, making them cartoon characters, basically. And this doesn't stop. It continues with Reggie abdicating his position as Nintendo CEO to a kid who you thought was Bill Trinen's son.
Yes, I'm 100% sure I've seen a picture of that person before on his Twitter feed, and I remember him saying like, "Oh, my son's done XYZ or something." Like, someone can check that, but I'm sure it's his son.
Interesting. Yeah, I definitely see, because his wife is Japanese, of course, so you can tell that the kid's kind of mixed race as well. So it does kind of make sense that would be him. And also the Japanese that he spoke in the trailer sounded pretty legit. It sounded like he actually knew how to speak Japanese, and that would make sense considering his mother is Japanese. So there we go. But yeah, the announcement was basically Reggie going around getting fit to train for what was the big unveiling, which is Nintendo are bringing back the Nintendo World Championships. After 25 years, this is coming back. Now, Bally, you and I weren't even born when the Nintendo World Championships were a thing, so this is older than us. But as far as I recall, back in the day, this was kind of a tournament that they held. It would often involve a hype train for a new game, like Mario Brothers 3, I believe, was part of it. And then the contestants would be able to play something from that as a part of the tournament. So it was a great, cool event, and I think that modernizing it and bringing it into the future is a really cool step. What are your thoughts on it, Bally?
It's pretty exciting. I mean, you mentioned just before the video launched that it's probably quite likely they were going to do something Splatoon based, and it's still kind of surprising that they've chosen to go for this World Championship rather than doing something Splatoon based. But it's so unpredictable. Like, who'd have thought that they were going to do this? So, like, it's someone checking their calendar, like, oh, it's been 25 years since the last World Championship. I bet Nintendo will be doing another one of those this E3 because that was quite unexpected.
Yeah, it was. It really was. But I think so. If you think back in the day, 25 years ago, Nintendo hadn't made that many games, right? So they didn't really have this wide variety to choose from. At this point in time, there are so many Nintendo games out there that there is a good chance that Splatoon could be one of those games that is part of the Nintendo Championships. They could throw Smash Brothers in there. I think the benefit of doing this instead of a focused tournament on a specific game is that they can use multiple games. They can bring Smash Brothers back. They can have Splatoon in there. They can throw back to a classic like Super Mario World. They can do like kind of speed race challenge trial things. And the whole event could just be this huge celebration of all these Nintendo games that have happened over the years, as opposed to just a single one.
I do hope they do modern games, and I don't know. For some reason I just got the feeling from the video that it was going to be older games. I mean, we obviously don't know yet, but I just got the impression that they'd want to replicate what they did 25 years ago. I don't know if you got that at all.
Not particularly. They were kind of going across the full spectrum. You know, Reggie was playing Wii Sports at one point. So that's
okay. So you thought the training video suggested the games they might be
playing. Not necessarily, but the fact that he is playing stuff from different eras. They even mentioned the Virtual Boy, which Nintendo never bring up ever. Like it's one of those kind of embarrassments, especially for the Japanese. Is like they kind of sweep that under the rug. The Virtual Boy was the thing which got Gunpei Yokoi kind of shunned from the company. Because it was such a horrible disaster. And yet they're bringing it up here, and Reggie's like, these games are great. Like when he's inside the Virtual Boy, he's like, yeah, these games are great. It's like, yeah, great, Reggie. How about you release those on 3DS Virtual Console? Because that'd be fucking perfect, right? Because there's stereoscopic 3D that you could do. But to answer your question, I didn't get the overall impression that they're focusing on old games. I think that they are going to try and do a nice mixture of the two. Grab some old games to kind of throw back to the past, but also, you know, focus on the present day and have Splatoon or Smash Brothers or something like that there as well. So,
yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there's not really much information on this. What we do know is it's happening on the Sunday. It's happening before the press conferences start at E3. Now, Nintendo have done a Sunday event before, and it was actually the year the Wii U was going to launch. I believe it was 2012. And on that Sunday, they did the video with Iwata and the action figure guy, non-specific action figure. You remember that guy?
Not particularly, no.
Okay, well, they just had this joke throughout the whole of that E3 about this action figure. He was like this blue action figure, and they just called him non-specific action figure. Anyway, it was a whole thing. It was kind of a pre-press conference to get out of the way a lot of the menu stuff and kind of interface stuff surrounding Wii U so that wouldn't bog down their actual presentation. So that's when they did that. But this year, it's kind of interesting because Nintendo are now going to be going up against another company for that slot because Bethesda announced that they are hosting a press conference on that Sunday. A lot of people speculating, obviously, Fallout 4 is going to be coming. The people thinking another Dishonored, and there's a bunch of games that Bethesda could show for that press conference. So Nintendo are going up against some competition for viewership. I kind of don't think there's a huge I guess crossover in audiences between people who play Bethesda games and play Nintendo games, so it may not work out too badly for them, especially if this ends up being like a whole day-long event, because I have the feeling that it could be like a 6-7 hour live stream as opposed to anything else. What do you think about how long this is going to run for?
Yeah, I mean, how long did the Smash Brothers tournament last?
It was a good maybe 3 hours or so. Yeah.
It must be longer than that. But in general, I think it's so cool that there was always this concern that with Nintendo doing the directs and now the digital events that they're doing, that they wouldn't have a presence at E3. This was the big thing. Like, will people still be talking about Nintendo because they're just doing the digital event and not actually have a presence? And this, just like the Smash Brothers tournament last year, it's just saying, hey, we're here, get excited, come watch our World Championship. It's going to be great. And it actually gets a lot of buzz. and a day before they even do the digital event. So they're almost getting the bonus of having 2 days, whereas a company like Sony or Microsoft, they're just going to get them 1 day, you know, to get super hyped. Whereas Nintendo, they're sort of 2 things together, getting all the fans and the journalists hyped.
Yeah, and I do love Nintendo's approach to E3, that it's not just one and done with the press conference or with their announcements. They treat E3 as a week-long event, which it is for everyone, really, who goes to the show. For most people who are at home watching, it isn't, because most people just tune in for the press conferences and then like kind of follow websites to see what the gameplay demos are happening. But Nintendo are having something on Sunday with this event. They're going to have their thing on Tuesday with their, Nintendo Digital event again, which is returning, and then Treehouse Live, which goes for the rest of the week, which they're promising more games, they're promising more developers on, which is very, very exciting because, last year I was very skeptical about Treehouse Live, about the fact that it seemed like maybe it would be kind of PR and towing the line, and I think that is what it essentially is. But the nice thing about it is that they actually kind of go there and show proper gameplay, and they have people to explain it, and they have people who have made the games there to talk about interesting stuff. So it's such a cool initiative, and I'm really, really glad that they're bringing it back this year.
Yeah, it's not dry in the sense that you'd associate a normal sort of PR thing would be. It's far more relaxed, and I mean that's the whole point of it, is to give the impression that it's relaxed, even though it is secretly, obviously,
Right, yeah.
Look at this game, you want to buy this. They're stressing out behind the scenes, but to our faces and while they're playing, they seem relaxed, and they're just talking about games they enjoy, that they've worked on. Really casual interviews that go back and forth, and it's refreshing. And that combined with just what I'm sure is going to be a hilarious digital event, there'll be cracking jokes left, right, and center. You can imagine Reggie will be the star of the show again. It's just nice that they're not just saying, okay, here are our sales figures. I mean, they wouldn't want to talk about their sales figures anyway at the moment.
No, absolutely not.
It's refreshing that they're going for this, hey, we're Nintendo, we're fun. Microsoft, Sony, these other companies, they're fun in their own way, but we're hilarious and we're fun. Like, you want to follow us if you want to have a fun time. And like that's a great image that they've really succeeded in putting forward the last few years. And I want it to continue, because I was just saying before we started that 4 years ago, just even the Wii U launch, it was just so serious. It was so like, here's our product. This is why you need to get excited. PR.
Yeah.
And now it's just more relaxed. It's more of a good time, and it works really well for them.
Yeah, it's been successful. Like all of these videos, the one that they partnered with Mega 64 to do last year, the whole Robot Chicken skit at last year's digital event. And I fully expect another one of those skits to be a part of the digital event this year. So I'm really looking forward to that, because those are always hilarious. And as we said before, they take their executives and make them characters, and that's so Nintendo, because Nintendo are a company which are driven by iconic characters. So obviously they're going to take their executives and make amazing characters out of them. So Reggie and Iwata, and they're all going to be doing stuff. Do you think, Bally, that this, I think last year we could have pretty safely made this assumption, but the fact that they are once again doing a digital event, they are abandoning the press conference, I think this is 100% now we can set in stone. They have put a nail in the coffin of the old Nintendo press conference, and it is never coming back again. Would you say that's the case?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of pundits felt that Nintendo won last year, and if you can win E3 without even having to technically be there with a press conference, why on earth wouldn't you do it again? And it completely gets rid of the idea that you could have any gaffes or slip-ups, because it's all pre-recorded. They can really work into it what they want to sell, what they want to talk about. You don't have to worry about your presenters losing it on stage or the auto cue failing or something like that. And it's just more control, but in the end, it's more fun, and it seemed to work for them. So yeah, I do think it is. No, there's not going to be any more press conferences, but like with this championship, their presence is elsewhere at E3, and I like that.
Yeah, and the thing is that everyone at home gets to enjoy this stuff. Like with Microsoft and Sony, if you want to see the games that they're showing off, you generally have to go out to other websites who are going to be hosting their own live streams. Like GameSpot does a live show from the floor where they bring on developers. IGN does the same thing, and throughout the entire week that kind of rolls on. Nintendo just can control the message themselves. Like I think they will go on to the IGN and GameSpot shows, but their Treehouse makes it so that they don't really need to do that if they don't want to. They can just like bring everyone to them. And absolutely, the digital event is another way of just controlling that message, making sure that everything runs smoothly. Everyone talks about how the Skyward Sword demo was such a fuck up. Like, something like that could happen at Microsoft and Sony. It's never going to happen for Nintendo again. They're never going to have those issues. So.
I would even argue that super casual gaming fans who might watch like the Treehouse stream might not even realize that those guys at Treehouse work for Nintendo.
Right,
they might just look like regular journalists, sort of asking, interviewing, playing games, and elsewhere with IGN, etc. That's what will be happening in a very similar style of video. But secretly they obviously work for Nintendo, and it's very controlled. But hey, it's safe and it works for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the Nokia Theatre is where they used to have their press conference, and last year they used it as the Smash Brothers tournament setting, got all the fans in. Definitely seems like that's going to be the place that they'll want to go for the Nintendo World Championships. Is book out the Nokia Theatre again. Seems like a great venue. It's really big, open, available for seating for people. The thing I'm kind of curious. How do you think they're going to choose people to participate? Do you think this is going to be an open call to anyone? Do you think they're going to handpick like the invitational, go out and find some speed runners and find some competitive gamers and kind of throw them into the mix? I don't really know how it was done back in the day, so maybe that can inform some of us our speculation. But
do we know how they did it for Smash Brothers? Because I believe they actually did like tournaments in big cities across the US, and then the winners of those tournaments came to LA. I believe
I don't think that's how it worked. I think Nintendo just handpicked a bunch of Smash players.
Okay.
There wasn't any tournaments involved. It was just like they knew who the big Smash players were, they knew who they should invite, and they invited those people. So it was kind of just all on them at that point in time. So maybe they'll do that again. They didn't mention it being an invitational, so perhaps it is if you live in LA or around or at E3 at that time, you can apply, or maybe just they pick people from the audience. Who even knows? It could be random selection.
I don't know. I think random selection. There's not enough control, and you do want really good gamers to like that will be entertaining, and you can't guarantee everyone in the crowd would be awesome at these games. So I do think there must be some sort of process, but you're right, it wasn't called an invitational, so it can't just be hand-picked sort of internet stars or something. It'll be something else. I don't know, but they're running out of time if they are wanting to do some sort of regional tournament that leads to something, which I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. There's a lot of unanswered questions yet regarding that, but I'm excited. I think that last year Nintendo had one of the best E3s they've ever had. Like the addition of the Treehouse, just the game announcements that they had for just generally across the board were fantastic. That may be the one thing that I'm a little worried about, because I don't know what they have to show this year. What games are going to be the big hitters? What's going to get people excited? And that's probably my main concern. As far as just the presentation stuff goes, no issues here. I'm pretty set with that. What are you feeling about?
Yeah, I think last year, in my mind, Splatoon kind of just cemented them as having a great show, because everyone was saying we need new IP. Loads of people were speculating, like, how on earth would Nintendo even do a shooter? And they've kind of hit it out of the park in some degree. And obviously, we've only played the demo, but it's looking like a pretty solid game and a pretty solid experience all around. So I really doubt they're going to come up with a new IP that is kind of that impressive initially, like Splatoon was. And yeah, I think it'll be better than 2013, which was just Tropical Freeze and Super Mario World, 3D World, sorry, I should say. But I don't think it's going to be quite as good as 2014 with the likes of Splatoon, a Zelda trailer, and some other announcements. So I think it'll be somewhere between the two.
Yeah, lack of Zelda is definitely hurting them. It really is. It's
Oh, I'm so confident they might sneak out a trailer.
I don't know, Bally. I don't know. Doesn't seem like something's gonna happen.
I'm sure there's plenty of time for speculation in the next month.
Yeah.
So yeah, check out the podcast to find out.
Yeah, well, I guess with that, that's I guess the end of the discussion. There's not much else to talk about. It was only a 3-minute video. There wasn't a whole lot else going on, but it's good to know. I think the one thing maybe we should also address is Konami. Why do I keep saying Konami? It's because they're in the news right now.
Konami.
Square Enix are also holding a event on the Tuesday at 9 a.m. So people were speculating, are Nintendo going to move their standard time slot of 9 a.m. on the Tuesday? Nope. Clearly, they're saying fuck it.
Nope, you have to move for Nintendo.
Yeah, so they're going straight up ahead against Square Enix. So you're gonna have to make a choice. Do you watch Square Enix or do you watch Nintendo? I know which one we're going to be watching, but I'm very interested in what Square Enix have to show as well. So I'm going to have to watch that later, unfortunately, as that may be. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting time. I hope you're all looking forward to it. Bally, before we go, plug yourself. Tell people where you can be found on the internet and our podcast stuff.
Yes, check out our podcast Twitter account where we will keep you updated with everything from videos to recent episodes and the like, Mario Kart tournaments. So that is at TNL Podcast on Twitter, and my Twitter is at Ballyman91, BALLYMAN91. Go check out those two accounts.
Very good. You can obviously find me on the Twitters. I am at Lord Nbz as per the usual, and yeah, I'll be doing more videos like this as we get closer to E3. It's very exciting.
Episode 40 is going to be out after the weekend.
Yes, so we're going to be recording that this weekend. So be sure to tune in, and yeah, thank you very much for watching this. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.